What are your best examples of people cheating the system? So I work in the luggage claim department for a major airline. All day I get to hear customers yelling and complaining. What I did is borrow one of the wheelchairs from the airport and sit behind my desk all day long. Customers come in all angry, see me in the wheelchair, realize they are about to yell at a guy who is possibly crippled, and all of a sudden they turn into the nicest people. Physically my blood pressure has dropped and in general I'm in a pretty good mood most of the time. My boss will often check the date modified on certain files on our server to see if I have updated or even opened a certain file recently. So, I have installed a changer utility that allows me to modify the date modified on any file. This comes in most handy when my boss wants to give me weekend assignments. I just come in on Monday morning and change the date modified to Saturday night, and he thinks I was actually doing something for work on Saturday night. I've actually received a lot of kudos for this. I don't feel bad though, because my boss is a huge dickhead. My wife and I were at a super fancy restaurant in Mick. Reservations not allowed. Expect to wait. We get there and are told we would be waiting about 2 hours. No problem, we planned on this. Some guy right after us shook the reservation guy's hand, handing him $200. Next thing I know I hear table for 2 for Thomas. Thomas being my name, and I asked for a table of 2. I say that is me. They sit us and we order drinks and apps. 5 minutes later they say we are the wrong Thomas, but we could stay since we had already ordered. Guess who was the right Thomas? The guy who paid $200 to skip the line. I was flying last month, and the plane I was on had Wi-Fi. There was a free 15-minute trial, and then you could purchase a chunk of time. I just kept deleting the cookies on my phone, refreshing, and logging back in. I stayed online for over an hour for free. When I was in college, I had this meal planned where the school essentially took my actual money and turned it into campus dollars that could only be spent at school dining halls and cafes. I didn't mind so much until the end of the semester, when I was informed that any unspent campus dollars would go away. I had more than $100 left, and only a day to spend them. Here's what I did. I went to the nicest campus restaurant, the one where you're supposed to take your parents when they come to visit. Basically, a real restaurant with waitstaff that also happened to take campus dollars. I got the most expensive thing on the menu, and then called the waiter over. I asked him if I could tip him in campus dollars, and he said yes. I asked him if he would have immediate access to those campus dollars, in the form of actual money, and he said yes. So I made him a deal. I gave him a monster tip, and he gave me half of it back in actual money. Many years later, I am still proud of this. I made a server's day, screwed the man, and got my money back. Whenever people come to the pool where I lifeguard and have guests with them, I always ask them if they live more than 50 miles away. Our policy is guests from more than 50 miles away don't pay guest fees. If they say no, I give them the look and ask them again. They usually say yes after that, saving customers $2 like a boss. I get paid by my work even though I am on Reddit for 5-6 hours per day. I bring all my rechargeable items, shaver, cell phone, laptop, etc., to work and plug them in there. I figure I must have saved at least $1 last year in electricity. The college I commuted to didn't have enough parking for the commuters, but roughly 10 times what it needed for the residents. One day I was forced to park in the resident parking and got a ticket. Every day I had to park there, right, slip the ticket under my windshield wiper and walk on into class. The cars around me would get tickets, but they'd just leave the old one on my windshield figuring they already got me. Never even paid it. Worcester State did a horrible job of enforcing parking fines 10 years ago. I did this at my school. I put the ticket under my windshield and for the first time or so it worked. Then I started getting tickets again. One day I sat outside, when I parked legally, and watched the parking guys do their thing. Turns out they mark the tires of the newly ticketed with chalk. It's genius. Really, who looks at their tires? So then I noted the rotation of colors they used and bought my own chalk. I live in a campus apartment and they've recently changed the visitor spots to 4 hours only. One morning while waiting for the bus, I saw the parking police marking the tires of all the cars in the visitor spots with chalk, indicating the time a ticket could be written. As soon as he left, I went and wiped the chalk off each of the car's tires. I giggled the whole time I was doing it. I can afford college thanks to bigotry. I have 2 moms. And thanks to the law, my non-birth mom is technically not my legal parent. So when I applied for the FAFSA, I could legally say that I was raised by a single mother who works part-time. Financial aid's even sweeter when it feels like you're getting revenge for living with people's bullshit. I used to work in a camera store that sold warranties. No matter how the camera broke, they would fix it or replace it under the warranty. The only problem was that the store would ship off the camera to be repaired, sometimes for months, up to 5 times before replacing it. So, let's say your battery cover breaks off, you ship it off and 6 weeks later it's back, but it's really a brand defect, so the cover pops off again. They won't replace the whole piece or give you another camera. You're out the camera for months while it's being fixed. They keep selling the defective camera in the warranties. I got tired of effing over customers. I thought it was dishonest. I read the contract myself and found an interesting clause. If the camera was so physically damaged that it was obvious it couldn't be fixed, we could take a pic of it and send that instead. The person immediately got a new camera. When people would come in with a camera with a defect I'd seen 100 times, I'd ask if they just wanted a new one, the next model up, without the defect. They'd say yes and I'd tell them to take it out into the parking lot and run over it with their car. I'd pile the pieces on the counter, take a pic and give them their new, non-defective camera. I slept fine. Papa John's offers an unadvertised, maybe unofficial, deal where pizzas that were ordered but never picked up are sold for $5 just before closing. Size and toppings doesn't affect the $5 price, so my friends and I used to order family-sized meat lovers pizzas and opt to pay at pickup but never show up. We would wait till closing, pop our heads in and ask if there were any leftover pizzas on the rack for sale, thus getting our huge pizzas for $5. I'm from Northern Ireland, and when ordering stuff online I'd always write Belfast Island on it instead of NI. The post'll still get there, as yes, technically Belfast's in Ireland. The post would be directed via the Dublin sorting office instead of coming into the UK routes. 9 times out of 10, the Dublin sorting office would just send it on up to Belfast, instead of forwarding it to Royal Mail in London, who would then slap a huge import bill on it. Whereas the Southern Irish Postal Service can't charge me import, as I'm a UK citizen. The Republic of Ireland couldn't give a ref if the Queen's out of pocket over a few quid. My granddad was a Royal Mail postman for years. He taught me that one. Back in high school I discovered that if you call any questions comments number on a food product, you could make up literally anything and get a coupon for a free whatever it was. So for instance we'd call Bisquick pancake mix and say we bought a jar of mix but inside we found 3 already made pancakes. Like that. Just nonsensical stuff. We did it so much that we'd pile up the coupons, go to the grocery store and check out a full cart of groceries and just hand the cashier a stack of these coupons and not pay a cent for hundreds of dollars worth of groceries. We did that multiple times, and eventually the big companies, Kraft, General Mills, etc., catch on and you have to use different names and addresses. I'll never forget the exasperation of the poor person on the other end of the line when I told them the chicken patties I bought just get more frozen every time I put them in the microwave. The kids are outside playing hockey with the effing thing right now. This is bullsh. In the good old days of Black Friday, before stores like Best Buy started getting very crafty and clandestine with their deals, 8+ years ago, there used to be a slight buffer where someone would leak the sales and the items wouldn't be removed from the shelves. I don't remember specifically, but they had a system to prevent you from purchasing then pre-imaging retroactively. As soon as this happened I strolled on down to Best Buy, took a bunch of stuff that I wanted, and put it in their dryers and washing machines. Basically whatever hiding place that didn't look like it got a lot of browsing or consideration. Then when Black Friday comes, sleep in. Head to the store around noon and pull the doorbusters out of a washing machine. Here is a Canadian one. Being Canadian it's even ethical. Wait outside a superstore gas station and watch for users that leave the receipt. On the end of each left receipt is a super buck. 20 minutes and you can collect enough for lunch. Saw a bum doing this. Thought it was pretty creative. I used to be a member of NY Sports Club. It is a semi-expensive gym here. At the time if you forgot your ID card you could just tell the person behind the desk your number. I always forgot. After a while I noticed I was transposing 2 numbers in my ID and they were still letting me in. I cancelled my membership and had free all access gym membership for 3 years. I did this at a local racket club for a while. The very first time, I walked in like I knew the people behind the desk. I waved and said a very friendly hello like I was happy to be seeing them again. There was a guy and a girl working the desk and they both smiled and waved back as I walked in without paying or showing an ID card. Perhaps each thought I knew the other. I did this on Monday nights for several months and it worked every time. After a while, they did recognize me and the smiles and hellos became genuine. A guy in my neighborhood owned a piece of land where buildings had been planned to be built after his wife died. Eerie coincidence. Yes, he turned it into a graveyard with only her grave in it so the government couldn't take the land. I bought a wireless network adapter for my Xbox off eBay that was broken. I paid like $8 for it. I bought a new one at Walmart for like $40. Returned the broken one to the store. Yeah, that was stealing. Shouldn't have done that. If you want easy karma, write about ripping off Walmart and say they are evil. Back in high school I would buy massive quantities of arcade tokens from the manufacturers off of eBay. I was getting about $10 worth of tokens for each $1 spent. I was there one afternoon when some kid went up to the counter and pointed out that the token machine was giving out tokens from some other arcade. The owner was more than upset and I knew it was time to find a new arcade.